Hey kids, welcome to Mustang Island. Mustang Island is a barrier island. A barrier island protects us from storm surges. It also gives us a great place for recreation. If you look around, you can see no trees on the island. That's because of the wind, and the salt spray would really just knock the trees down before they have a chance to grow. So the plants that you do see mostly are grasses. And grasses are vitally important to stabilizing the sand here. Without these plants, the sand could blow away and we wouldn't have an island. Let's look at one of these plants and we'll talk about how important these plants are and their adaptations to this unique environment. If you look at this plant right here, this is called railroad vine, and it has a very beautiful purple flower, and it's one of the fastest growing plants on the sand dunes. And it could grow up to 12 inches in length per day. And so that's really important when you have a natural disturbance such as a hurricane. It's going to be the first plant that grows back to stabilize that sand. So some other adaptations we see are plants that have very, very tiny hairs on their leaves, which work just the same as sunscreen. So unique adaptations in this grassland. All the root systems that you see for these plants are very delicate. So actually when we're standing on these dunes, we need to be very careful. One, because there's rattlesnakes here, but two, any light traffic can create a trail. And when we create a trail there, that sand can just blow right away. All right, hey guys, we're back on the other side of the island now. So we were just over there by the jetties on Mustang Island. And now we're on the bay side of the island, which is the west side. And if we went straight that way, we would be in downtown Corpus. What I wanted to show you was just a little bit of compare and contrast of plant adaptations that we're going to see on this part of the island. So let's walk right over here, and you can see this big green bushy plant is called a mangrove. And there's lots of different species of mangroves. We only have 2 species here on the island. This is a black mangrove, and most mangroves are known for having a unique adaptation that allows them to grow in very, very wet areas. And you can see it's actually still wet right here from some of the tide water, but if you come up close, we'll be able to see their adaptation. And if you look really closely right here, you can see this bare looking stick, and that's actually the roots of the mangrove plant. And that adaptation allows them to exchange gases when this is underwater from high tides or excessive rain. So, unique adaptation from the mangrove. And then right here is another interesting little plant. You can see it's mostly a pale shade of green, and then every so often you see one of these yellow leaves. So the adaptation that this plant has is that as it's absorbing water, it actually has so much salt in it that it puts all the salt into one leaf called a sacrificial leaf, and then it just drops that leaf right off back into the system. The interesting thing about this plant is it's actually edible. It's called saltwort, and it has omega fatty acids. Now you might have heard of omega fatty acids in fish like salmon and tuna, and it's really healthy for our hearts. If you were to make a whole meal out of this though, you'd need to drink a lot of water because it is salty.